Hello everybody, FewCandy here and welcome back to Philadelphia, where last time we put in our big farmland. If you haven't seen it, it did turn out alright. If you started the video and saw this intersection and thought, yeah, I'm turning off. It turned out alright in the end. We got there. But anyway, today I'm going to be looking to expand out on Few Haven. I know we've got a lot to do around Gaudy Bay and the transition between the two towns, but I'm eyeing up this little area here. Because if we take a little look at our city stats, we've got massive demands for everything, apart from commercial, annoyingly, because I really want to put in a little bit of commercial here. I thought this would be the perfect spot for an out-of-town shopping centre. And I was thinking maybe the big marketplace unique would fit in really nicely here, but alas, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to kind of ruin our commercial demand all the way up till the end of the game. But I will be putting in some offices here and a bit of a sort of makeshift, trying to make it look like a commercial strip, slightly out of town. But at the end of the day, it'll be satisfying some of the office demand. Money-wise, we're absolutely fine. This was up to 17,500 when I looked a minute ago, and also happiness as well. We're doing all right on all services. Apart from schooling, they seem to be happy that they've got walking distance to an elementary school. However, all of our schools are full. So we've got one space in our high school. We've got a full elementary there. We've got another full elementary over this side. So we definitely want to get another school in here. I'm also eyeing up, I don't know what you guys think of this, but I'm eyeing up a high school on this hillside as kind of an elite boarding school high school. There's a bit of a rival to Few Haven's slightly more downtown high school on the outskirts over there. I thought that might be kind of fun up on the hillside. I don't think we're going to be doing that today. We'll see how time pans out. But definitely an elementary in here. Services wise as well, I'm very surprised that they all think they've got reliable mail service, because I don't think I've ever seen that, and we only have two very shiny post offices across our city so far. We did do a pretty good job at spanning out the mailboxes, so I'll be wanting to make sure that we incorporate that into this area. But the bulk of it's going to be low density residential, I think, to try and get some of this demand up. I'm going to save some of the high density for elsewhere. I mean, we've got a huge downtown that we need to come onto at some point over there, and then the offices. So hopefully those two things will go down, and maybe if we start putting in some low density residential, maybe we'll get some commercial demand back, potentially. We'll see. We can of course look in here at the demand generator to understand what's happening, and yeah, I don't know what this is, if this is a new bug that I'm encountering, but there's no information on our commercial whatsoever. So I thought I'd just come down here and have a little check on our high street. All of our commercial buildings are full up. I actually can't see any which are unoccupied apart from... Oh, actually I say that. There's one right there. I was going to say apart from the motels, which definitely aren't occupied. I know they're working on a bug fix for that and for the tourism part of the game. But they're pretty much all occupied, apart from that one that I just found. So I don't think that there's an issue necessarily with commercial demand, and I'm curious actually if we put in... Oh, there's another one there that's empty. Okay, maybe there's a couple. But maybe if we put in some commercial, I'm wondering if it will actually fill up, because that's weird. That's making me think there's definitely some kind of new bug that I haven't encountered before. Let me know in the comments below if you have seen that or what you've done about it. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's get on with some building. So road connections wise here, I'm kind of reluctant to turn this into a four-way intersection here. I think they could just come off from this side, come around here and come over the bridge to get here. Or indeed, we could create another connection from this side, which I think would be kind of handy. They've also got an intersection over here for anyone coming from this way through the farmland. This is a reasonably fast road through there because it's not densely populated, so they could come into this area that way. Plus anyone from this direction, there's an intersection here which could get fast roads over if we create that connection right there. So maybe we just add a slip road for this one for people coming from this direction, and then everyone would be fairly well served, if not for a direct connection into this area from all of the different ways that they could possibly come in. So I think that's what we're going to do here. So yeah, this connection here is going to be potentially a little bit dodgy. So let's see how we go. But I want to raise this up to get over the highway. So we're going to go up 8.6. Okay, that's not too severe. We'll need to remove those trees, clearly. Let's see if we can come over it this way. I think we're going to have to turn Anarchy on for this to get this nicely over, but it will go over. It's at a decent height. It could potentially come down a little bit more actually, but I think we'll leave it like that for now. And then we want to get this back down to ground level. So I think we're going to have to curve this to get this down nicely. So let's just bend it just a little bit like that. And that's a 6.7 point slope. So I'm quite comfortable that that is okay. We'll then bring it out straight here. And then we'll curve it round to meet up with this road. So there's a nice connection there. And then from this slip road, we can grab our one-way highway. And I'm thinking we just bring it off in a very slight diversion over this way, just to meet it up into this road here. Potentially this could even be a roundabout, actually. We haven't used any roundabouts really on the roads yet in Philadelphia. Yeah, I think we could do a little roundabout at this point, so they're just coming nicely off into that. And then from here we can start going off into what will be our office park this side. So I think for a lot of this development, I've actually been into road build and I've created an alley road with sidewalks. And what this means is it's slightly thinner to our standard small road, but it's also unmarked, which I quite like, so it doesn't have that yellow divider in the middle. So I'm thinking we're going to use this for most of this area, if not all of it. Because then we've still got a sidewalk for pedestrians, so they're nice and safe, but it's just a nice smaller road without all of those road markings, less fussy for a suburban kind of development out in this area here. So I think that'll work nicely. I'm wondering though if we should upgrade this to a larger roundabout. Maybe have multiple ways coming off it so they can go directly into the office park from here, which I think actually would be a nicer thing. So we're going to redo what we've done, trial and error and all that. And we're going to bring out this connection. We can just go straight up to here actually. Again, that's not too much of a severe slope. And then we'll grab our little alleyway road and this can come out into the development. And then this one over here can come out into the office park. Now I want this to sort of run parallel-ish to our main highway there so that the buildings can kind of sit nicely up against it. So I think something like that will work pretty well. And before I do anything, I'm going to come in and clear out these trees just so we can see what we're doing. Also, the trees on the map are kind of mainly focused on conifers and pines, which are fine, but I'm tending to use a bit more oak and alder combination for a lot of this, mixed in with some hickories, London planes and some of those smaller trees as well. So yeah, I think clearing this out will be beneficial. I should have just made this larger and stronger to begin with and get it done quicker. Okay, so we're going to start with the office park, and what I'm looking for this is actually some large office buildings. Maybe we actually go up to 6x6 for this. But ones without car parks on it ideally, so not that big, not the unique style, but ones without too much fuss on it that are just going to kind of take up the entire block with relatively little decoration. This one's pretty good. Yeah, I like this one, so I think let's go ahead and add a couple of these in. And maybe we do actually do a tiny bit of fusing here. We'll need to do some better Bulldozer to tidy it up. Just to have two of the same buildings in here next to each other. And we could even go one step further. Let's turn off snapping to roads. Let's turn this around and we'll create a third in here. So we've got a little office development which, you know, 3 companies can move in here and take up this office space. And that's going to be nicely sort of formatted in the same style of building with all the different company logos on it. I've seen we've got companies in there already, which is wonderful news. And then let's try adding in some commercial, dare I say it, because this is really what I wanted here, was this sort of vibe of a out-of-town commercial area, something like this. So this one's pretty good. Though it has got entrances. Is that a trade entrance there at the back? Yeah, it looks like a garage. Yeah, it has got entrances on corners, so it might be slightly more difficult to position this one. This one's probably quite good. It's pretty boxy. We can bob off the fence and things like that on the front. So this feels pretty good for me. I'm going to leave a slight gap between the offices. So we've got a separate entrance into a big car park at the front here. I should have mentioned we'll be putting lots of parking out the front, which I think would be nice and appropriate for this. Let's change the colour of this next one. And I can see there's a billboard actually on the side, so let's keep that intact and we'll just shift that one back slightly, and then we can kind of develop the car parks alongside these as well. And let's have a second one which is going to come right up into the side of it like that. Now let's just flatten off a little bit more of this area just to give ourselves a little bit more space to play with. That's going to be slightly easier, let's face it. In terms of building. So we'll continue to bring this road up straight, and then let's go back to the commercial assets. No one is actually coming into them, so yeah, maybe it is wasted space. Maybe we do need to go back to offices, which we can do. I'm not opposed to doing that. So yeah, let's have one right up against the road like this. And then see if we can incorporate a couple of... Oh, this one's nice. Is this the same one? No, it's a different one, isn't it? So let's have this one right at the back up there. Perhaps we can do a little kind of roundabout entrance into this. I'm feeling like that building warrants a fountain outside or something of that nature. So let's see if we can draw this up to here. Can we then add a very small roundabout, maybe undecorated, in front of it, and it stays connected? We can. And then can we add a fountain to it? Yeah, so we could actually cover up the whole of the front of this roundabout with a fountain of some description, which makes me pretty... Actually, that's kind of cute, isn't it? A little ball fountain, which fits really, really nicely in the circle of that roundabout. Let's do that. Let's try and make sure that square is nicely aligned to the building so it looks super symmetrical. How do we feel about that? I quite like it. It's not too kind of over the top like this one. It would take away, I think, from the building in the background, but I think that adds a certain something. Then we can add in car parks all the way around here, of course, as well. So let's go back to our alleyway road, because we're going to need some kind of connection here. And maybe this is a case of road builder actually to get in some parking this side. Or alternatively, you could use Dome's car parking lots potentially, so we'll see about that. Then we can draw this across this way for further car parking up here. Or do we want to come off the roundabout? No, I think we'll leave this. I'm actually in the process of buying a house at the moment, and this reminds me a little bit of my conveyancer solicitor's office. So it looks slightly odd now, but hopefully it'll come together. In terms of the roads we're out here, so we definitely want car parking out the front here. Let's take a little look at what car parks we do have and what might be able to be incorporated in here. Because if we can utilise the vanilla ones in certain situations, then we may as well do that. So we could potentially have these two car parks back to back like this. I don't love the bushes in them, but again, we can use better Bulldozer on that to tidy it up. And then do we have enough room for an alleyway out here? We do, actually. So we could add that all the way around. For some reason that doesn't look straight. Yeah, 91. Let's come straight out of here. Again, that's not perfectly straight. I'll use a bit of Move It to tidy that up. And again, with these car parks as well, we want all those surfaces to be nice and cohesive here. Maybe we have a little green border in the middle, actually. We could definitely do that. Actually, probably be nicer, though, to have a bit of protection from the road. I think we can do something in that middle space, though. Maybe a little wall border, potentially. So if we come into our extra detailing tools, my current favourite asset is this little brick wall here. Absolutely love it. I'm going to turn off snapping for this. And yes, we could just divide it up with a tiny, tiny little bit of brick wall, like so. Which I think just adds a certain something. Of course, those spaces have now deleted. Wonderful. When that happens, it's just because the car parks are slightly too close together, I think. Which is kind of annoying, because I like to, to merge things. We've got a tiny little gap there now, but we can fill that up with surfaces. And then let's go into sub-elements in Better Bulldozer. If we do exact match, I believe from my understanding, thanks to Tygon for your advice, that actually that way they will stay completely removed from the asset. You know, where sometimes I've had issues with props popping back up as soon as an asset has changed and that sort of thing. I think this negates that. So we'll see how we go with that. We also then want to obviously remove these fences out the front. I've realised I'm now not on the exact category. We may have to come back and sort that out. But yeah, if we remove those fences on the front, we could then do a bit of surface work there in a minute and definitely bring in some kind of surface up here. We could maybe one of these sort of cobbled, the grass slightly spilling through. They're called regular block pathways. Let's have a little look at this. I have also got the area bucket mod on now, which is incredibly useful because for something like this, you can see we can put that in, and then if we're not too sure about it, we've got these options here now where we can do enable disable area bucket tool. So I'm going to enable it. And then if we click enable replacement tool, that's the one I want. We should just be able to click on this surface and replace it with different new ones so we can see what it would look like with various different surfaces intact, which I love. Super, super, super handy, this. So I think we could have it coming across there, and then maybe it's worth, actually, if we want to go into the tiny details, maybe adding some lines or some kind of description here. Yeah, something like the shark teeth maybe look quite good along here, just as a kind of warning to drivers that pedestrians are crossing at this point. And then it will kind of nicely, let's turn off snapping because that's not aligning properly. Then it will kind of nicely align to the edge of the path area as that flows through the middle of the car park. So something like that. Yeah, I quite like that. I realise we've lost half our street lights now as well, so that's wonderful. We'll come back and sort that out, but that's a kind of general premise, I think, there. Let's add in a road connection to this one. We have got a business in here now, so there must be some commercial demand. I'm not really too sure what's happening with that. And then let's come in here and we'll do the same thing. So I think we're just going to wrap these buildings here, and then we can do some nice car parking designs out the front there. And then we need lots more car parks here. So let's just jump into a little time lapse. We'll finish off this area and then we'll get on to the neighbourhood.
You might be the one that truly got me. I feel it too. You might be the one that truly got me. I feel it too.
Okay, so we got our little office and commercial strip in, and you know what? All of these commercial buildings are full. They're occupied, they're fine. We still have nothing here, so definitely something up with that. So I probably could have plopped in the big marketplace and it might have been alright, but either way, I don't want to kill our commercial demand. It has definitely been lower than other demands for other zones, so we'll keep it like this for now. The offices are all working really nicely, really pleased with this little space here, although I did just realise I haven't added in any benches. So let's go ahead and add in some of those, because I'd definitely like a couple of little benches around here. We want the grey type? I kind of want the wood one, yeah, these nice wood ones. So let's just add a few in here for the office workers to sit maybe on their lunch break and enjoy a little bit of a cobblestone path space or something like that. But yeah, really pleased with how this has worked actually. It's coming pretty nicely, particularly overlaying this cobblestone surface texture over the roundabout here. Really, really loving that vibe. I did a little back entrance into the commercial here just for a bit of extra realism, and the car park here as well. I've tried to keep it very concretey, so everything's kind of moved up. We've obviously got the pathway we'd already put in before through the middle of the car park, but very grey in comparison to this bit, which is much more of a designed car park, I suppose, around the offices here. And there's one just very small little trick I wanted to show you with the area bucket tool, which is just so good. I can't believe I didn't discover this a long time ago. For areas like this around our rail yard here, for example, where we've got in this sand texture, or actually if we go to Sully's riverbed, which is what I want to use here, go to area bucket, it kind of automatically finds areas that you can fill in with the surface. So yeah, just like that, one click of a button and we're getting nice kind of surfaces in around here, and it makes such a difference to the look of the area. Some of them you might want to adjust a little bit. You would have seen that in the time lapse for me. I think I did a bit of that around the offices over here, but it just makes it look so much more realistic when you've got trees over the top, that the grass isn't completely green and fully grown. There's a little bit of wear and tear on it, that sort of thing. So yeah, amazing mod. Definitely go and use it. Now, one thing I did want to just show you before we come on to building out this area, I've mentioned already we definitely need an elementary school, but if we take a look at population, we're only at 2% unemployment, which is quite astounding, actually, considering we have such high demand for residential zones as well. I mean, we do have demand for office and industry as well, granted, but we're doing pretty well from a jobs front. Also, in terms of education, obviously we're lacking education spaces and we're quite high on the poorly educated rating, but our jobs are almost full. We're pretty well balanced here. So actually having this distribution of education is fine. We don't yet have a college in or a university. And it doesn't really feel like at this stage it's needed. We're still getting well-educated and highly educated people into the city from obviously outside connections or otherwise. So I'm pretty pleased with the progress of that. I do want to keep an eye on the unemployment level. Oh, it's down to 1.8 even now, as we add in this huge area, because they're going to have lots of single family homes in here with their elementary school as a sort of focal point. I'm thinking maybe a few other things as well, but yeah, let's talk about how we're going to design it. So the elementary school, let's start off with that, because I would like to go for the default, the original, the larger one, because it's got a capacity of 1,000 to start off with versus 400 on this one. And I kind of don't want to fill up a massive space with this plus loads and loads and loads of individual extension buildings. So I think we're just going to go for the bog standard larger elementary and have this as our school, even though it is a little bit big and grand maybe for a suburban neighbourhood such as this. But because it's so large, we need a little bit of flat land for it. So I'm thinking we're going to place it at the back here, because that doesn't sort of interfere with the landscaping too much around it. So I think that'll work well, although actually I want it the other way around. So let's not demolish it. Let's save on the pennies and let's spin this around this way. And we'll just move it back a little bit into place like that. Now, road network wise, we're going to continue with our alley roads with sidewalks, so we don't have the road markings around this neighbourhood. So I'm actually going to bring this one straight up here like that. And then as another main connection, obviously we've got this road flowing through here. I would like this to come around and connect up into this one, going off into the farmland, to be a sort of another main connection through the actual neighbourhood. So let's start off by smoothing out this little bit of landscaping. We did this side. Let's make that a little bit more palatable. And then I'm going to bring this up. Let's turn on contour lines so we can actually see what we're doing. I'm going to bring this up in a slight curve up to about there. And then at this point, I'm thinking we add in another roundabout because I don't want to zone on this road here. I want to keep it exclusively for this commercial and office development here. So we'll be zoning on roads outside of it. So I think having a roundabout at either end into it is kind of a nice thing to do. And then let's go ahead and grab our road again. Now we want to be a little bit mindful of contour lines out here. So I'm actually going to curve this round just a little bit like this. And then try and line it up nicely to our road over here. So we can get a nice smooth bend into that like so. And then we do also want to upgrade this section of it. I need to turn Anarchy back on into the alley road so that's nice and consistent coming through this neighbourhood here. And then I'd also like another sort of main road connection from here to here so people can avoid the industrial commercial estate if they would so like to. So I think we're actually going to run this along the guideline of the road so we can zone on this side and have the houses sort of backing onto the commercial industrial estate, probably some trees and a little bit of a noise boundary in between there, I'd have thought as well. And then we can just curve this into the roundabout, hopefully nicely-ish. Yeah, that's not too bad, not too bad. Now I'm conscious we do want a bit of parking. I'm saying I'm going to use these alleyway roads all the way around, but we do want parking on them. So I'm actually going to add in another connection. Let's come straight out of here for a little bit. And then we're going to bend it around following these contour lines up to this road here. So what I'm actually going to do here, I'm actually going to start, because I've had a few issues with Road Builder mod in this sense, I'm going to start by upgrading this to an alley road. Then we're going to come into Road Builder and we're going to change it up. So instead of the shoulders, we're going to have sidewalks and then we're going to have parking on it as well. So let's do that again. This side, sidewalk, parking, and then we'll remove the shoulders. And then what it does is it gives us essentially the same as a normal default vanilla road, but without the yellow line markings on it. So it's a little bit more palatable when it comes to a suburban area such as this. So I'm going to call it a suburban street. And then what we'll do is we'll come in and we'll upgrade this back to that and also this road here as well. So that we've got parking for residents along this area. So we can have that coming into the car park like that. I think we will also do the same thing for this road. Let's upgrade that. It's maybe gone a bit wonky on that intersection, so I might change that later. But that should give us some nice connections. I think also as well we want one coming across here. So let's come straight out of there and then we'll come down the hill like that, join up to that road there. Hopefully that's not too bumpy. To be honest, the terrain isn't massively bumpy here, but I want to kind of go with it. Landscapes aren't completely flat after all, so yeah, that will do nicely. So I think that gives us our main sort of street setup, and then in among, actually, no, before we do that, let's have one connection which is going to flow down the hill between those two there. So I think that'll be nice there. Yeah, I think that gives us our main street setup. So now we want to talk about the school here as well. So I think instead of having a road running along the front here, I'd actually like to just come out of the front with this. So I'm going to go back to our alley with sidewalk road. So we can come right out the centre here. Hopefully straight on into that road. Yes, like that. And then I would like a car park here for staff parking. So I think I am actually just going to use the default vanilla one for this. I don't think we need anything more or less than this. And then what I'd actually like to do this side is add in a sort of school drop-off point. So my kids are primary school age, and this is very much for, well, some of the older kids in primary school, not me yet. The parents will drive in, drop them off, and then drive off. So I have actually already in Road Builder created a narrow one-way road. So this is just simply a one-way road with a narrow pavement on it. So we're going to have this flow in. We want straight roads in for this. In like here, across like this, and then back out this way. So the parents can just drive in, drop their kids off, and drive off. And then what I think is this gives us a nice extension to the schoolyard this side. So if we come back to this building, we can add in this extension, I think here, which will give us our school boundary around there. I also do want to plop on the classrooms already because I think we're going to need them. I'm thinking with the playground, rather than adding that into the school, we can do something bespoke there. Let's use it as a park actually and put it on this corner here. Thanks to Anarchy, we can place it outside of that circle, which I think would be a nice feature on the corner. And then let's come back to our suburban streets. I think we'll create a through road there. And then we can start having a little look at some kind of cul-de-sacs coming off these roads here. So I'm actually thinking maybe we go back to the alley road for this. Although the suburban street might be quite nice. I think we probably want parking on the road. So let's bring out just a small cul-de-sac like that around the school. And then potentially one this side as well. So let's try and get that with even distribution either side so that we can build nicely around it. And we'll just bring it up the hill like that. And again, that can be another cul-de-sac. Yeah, so it's a case of kind of mirroring this sort of pattern across this area and filling this with lots of low density housing. I might do a little bit of row housing maybe around the school, just some smaller blocks. Well, we'll see how that looks. The other thing I do want to have in here is some open green space, and I was thinking possibly adding in the soccer field, which might sit quite nicely down here as a sort of dedicated team training ground or something of that description. It fills up this area quite nicely next to the highway intersection as well, which wouldn't be an ideal place for people to live. So yeah, I think we're going to place it in there. We might need to do a little bit of terrain smoothing around it. We can do some car parks for it. And then some wider open green space as parkland around the football ground I think would be nice here. Less of the trees. I'm very guilty of packing areas with trees, so we'll have some nice open green fields around there for people to enjoy. And then connections wise, I think we'll just use the bog standard alley for this. And we'll bring it off this way. Could we connect it into that roundabout? We could. Let's just have this coming off at quite an odd angle here. So it's not an ideal roundabout shape, but there's definitely roundabouts like this in the UK. That hasn't worked. So let's start from this end, go into a curve like that, and then come straight into the roundabout here. Yeah, so they can kind of divide off out into the football training grounds that way. I think that'll work out okay. The roundabouts are a little bit wonky. So as I like to plop, I'm going to go ahead and plop in a load of single family homes into here, maybe some row housing like I said, and we'll be back in just a second to talk about how we're going to make it all come together. And there we go, we've got loads of single family homes in. Now instead of doing row housing actually over here, what I decided to do was go for these North American kind of 3 deep or 2 deep houses. I think they're the waterfront assets actually, but I feel like they fit a kind of modern development like this to be close around the school. So I've done lots of these assets, trying to change up a couple of the variations as we go so it's not too repetitive. But I quite like how this sits in next to the school, all being sort of the same type of housing. I probably complained about that at the start of CS2, but actually I quite like these assets, so I think that works pretty well. And then we've just got a mix of kind of single family homes across here, both European and North American, trying to vary it up as much as possible. Little things like a repeated pattern here where it could be more of a development in this cul-de-sac. Developers come in and taken over the land there and put in the same type of housing, that sort of thing. I have also added in a small medical clinic over here as well because I thought that would be appropriate for a neighbourhood like this. They don't have their own fire or police, which again I kind of think in a suburb they probably wouldn't here. They've got that in Fewhaven, not that far away. And we're not having too many issues at the moment, so we'll leave that for now. And we also have a garage here as well to serve the community from a local convenience store and gas point of view for filling up their cars. We do want to bring in public transit as well, so I'm thinking of extending one of our bus routes out to here. So if we just take a little look at what we've got, this green line was going to head on up over that way. We've also got the black line that comes in into here. I'm thinking instead of this looping around here, it's going to come across into this neighbourhood and possibly actually up on into the farmland as well. I think might be quite nice. So let's go ahead and add in some more stops for it. So let's go back to a regular view for this. So at the moment it's looping around this neighbourhood. We've got stops there. So I am thinking, we've got stops here which will serve these guys. So I'm thinking one stop would be quite helpful by the gas station here so people could easily get round to the offices if they wanted to. I think we'll go for a shelter actually, why not? Let's have a bus shelter either side there. And then we'll have another one up at this end. And what I will do is make sure there's paths through into this development as well, so pedestrians can easily get across from the stops to there. Now we're going to loop up this way and add a stop in here, which will kind of help these guys. Hopefully that as well will be close enough to the school. There's a cut through here. Maybe we make another cut through to the back of the playground this side. Potentially. I think we're sort of close enough there that it's okay. And then we're going to have one more stop here, which will serve these guys pretty well there. And then let's come into the farmland. So I'm thinking we can put it on this road because we've got zoning on this road. So that is, that's quite exciting. Let's have a rural stop either side of the road here. And I think these should be pretty spread out. We've got a crash, which has caused a massive traffic jam because of course all the taxis are bringing all the new residents in. Fortunately, I popped them on pause, which was probably an error, so they're all coming in at once. At least this intersection's getting some use now, so yeah, that's good. And then I think let's have another stop outside these houses here, and then we can kind of loop it back round. It will probably loop back round there, I think. So let's go into bus line tool. So let's drag our route, and it's going to go up to this stop on the other side there. Then it's going to come up to here, and then it's going to go up to here. And we're just going to have to keep going around, getting these through to the right places, up to our rural stop here. My goodness, that's going around the mountainside and up to here. And then we want to drag it to come back in the other direction. Oh, it's going to turn around in that cul-de-sac, so that's not too bad, actually. So we just want to make sure we're getting into these stops. Where's this one? There. That was a chore. And then stopping here. Here. That may be a little bit too close. Oh, we've reached milestone 9. Wonderful. We've got a big boost in cash as well. We can definitely afford a high school and a college. So education episode maybe next time. Our private high school going in. That's what I'm thinking. A little bit more fancy. So make use of the fanciness of that building at least. Okay, and then we'll add in a waypoint so that it actually goes through here, so it's not kind of looping in a weird way around the houses there. Okay, that I think will be pretty good. That's quite an extensive route now, serving a lot of different places across this side of Few Haven. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. The other thing I do want to do as well is let's go into communications. Let's add in some mailboxes. So we've got a few dotted around there. We definitely want some here. So let's put one in by the offices. Have another one, I think, on the corner by the schools. Quite a nice appropriate place. And that's reaching quite far actually. So we don't need to put in too many of these. Let's have one more out there. That's making them happy. These guys weren't particularly happy. Are they just not happy at all? I might delete out that one. And then I think one post box in the farm area might be quite nice as well. Let's go by these houses. What, do you find post boxes out in seriously rural areas? Maybe you do. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Let's just delete this one because that is a little bit overkill. There we go. Okay, so we've got post in, we've got transport in, we've got the school in, we've got some recreation by the means of the football field and the playground over here. So I think now it's just filling out these neighbourhoods with some trees, a little bit of extra detailing on some of the corners, maybe some extra parks, building out the parkland around the football field, and then designing the school playground. And then we'll be back to have a little review at the end. Okay, so there we go, and in real life a couple of weeks has passed since I actually started this episode, so here we are. We've had a patch, we've had tourism patched and updated. However, if I zoom on over here, we are still yet to get any visitors into our motels, so that one and this one still empty. And also, all of our commercial seems to have abandoned along this strip, so we've got a whole load of empty commercial buildings here. The problem still persists in that I do not have any information there, so that's still very much live and an issue, for me at least, to understand why on earth I haven't got commercial demand in. If we head on back over to our commercial strip over here, we do actually have 3 businesses in all 3 buildings, so they're working, but the ones on our high street are not. Maybe we've concentrated the commercial a little bit too heavily, perhaps. We'll see, but there we go. So we do have our school grounds in now, and I went round with a load of high residential fencing all the way around the edge, which is kind of difficult to see, annoyingly, from zoomed out. I did want to put in gates, but I haven't, because obviously cars would drive straight through them in-game if that was the case. But that is completely surrounding our entire elementary school for security purposes now. And then we have put in this nice little playground in the middle here, just using some of the coloured surfaces to create some patterns, some of the numbers, a little kind of snakes and ladders grid maybe, although it isn't even. I probably should have added another column in there to make that even, but there we go. Something for them to play with, which is quite reminiscent of my kids' primary school playground at least. So yeah, hopefully that's nice. And then we've got the drop-off area here with a few extra car parking spaces for those that need to pull in and pull out. All kind of plain and simple, so I think that works pretty well. Then we just come in with a whole load of trees, and I have done a few things on corners like this, added in a very tiny little playground for this neighbourhood here. I've dotted in some trees in front of the houses as well that you can see there, just to fill in some of that empty green space, because actually, because we've used the alleyway road as a template here, these roads are quite narrow, so the houses actually sit back when you plop them in, which is kind of annoying. So all of them have this sort of empty green space in front of them, round most of this neighbourhood in fact. I have also done things like added in these little pathways running around the back of the houses in a few places, left some open green space in between the houses as well for playtime, kids going out to play ball with their neighbours, that sort of thing. And then of course we've got the football grounds over here where, like I said, I've left lots of green space around paths which sort of surround it, so it could be a bit of a dog walkers or a runners area perhaps, so they can run on the path. And there's some treed areas, some open green spaces. We've got this nice forested area right in the middle here. Snuck in another little playground as well, and a few extra car parking spaces. I did also update some of the textures around the football field here, so we've got this nice kind of cobblestone with the grass showing through around the edge for this parking up the side here, which I thought was quite nice. It just changes it up a little bit from that default vanilla football field that we're used to seeing. But that was pretty much it. It was a lot of tree work, so I cut that out of the time lapse, but there we go, we have got that in. And if we take a look at a couple of our stats now, so in terms of unemployment, obviously that was below 2% before, it's now shot up to 11, so we're going to want a few more jobs in there to keep that under control, although to be honest, 10.8%, I'm kind of okay with that, it's not too bad. We have got a lot of adults, I guess that's to be expected, a lot of children, not too many seniors at the moment, so hopefully our population doesn't age and we suddenly get a senior boom there. And in terms of schools, we're now green on elementary school actually, so if we take a look at this, we've got 923, we've got quite a few spaces in there, and has it actually eased the burden? Yeah, maybe a tiny bit on our other elementary school here. And same goes, well, this one's still pretty much full, but this one is a little bit less than what it was previously. So some of the students that were coming here have now emigrated over to whatever we're going to call this neighbourhood. And I need suggestions for that, so please drop them into the comments below. Along with our farm area as well, we need to name that. So it'd be great to get some suggestions from you guys for those to name our little Few Haven suburb out here. And this isn't the finished job as well, so this looks kind of very straight and boring as an edge here. I think this road, we're probably going to demolish that house and have this continue on up the hillside up here, have a few more housing in this area. We definitely want the high school, I think, on this hill here. Good to see what you guys think about that. And then we, of course, we'll fill this out with more housing as well a little bit further down the line. So in terms of money, we have £1 million in the bank. I'm pretty pleased with that. So that's building up really nicely, still making consistent 15,000 an hour. Growing our population a little bit. I'm quite slow on this. So for today, that is going to be it, but if you have enjoyed the episode, likes, comments and shares are greatly appreciated. Get those name suggestions down in the comments below and we'll give it a name next time. Hopefully we'll be back to more regular episodes, or slightly more regular episodes at least. The next couple of months is still going to be quite busy for me, but come the new year, we will be back on track and I'll be in a new house and settled, and things will be a little bit better for me time-wise. Well, thanks for sticking with me. That is all for me for now. I'll catch you again next time. Bye-bye.